Forrest Neal and Kenny Lunkins getting ready to square off. We saw Lunkins last time out in the ballroom. He was very impressive. With more on this matchup, head over to John Scheidman. John?
Well, Larry, he was pretty impressive in getting the win, but I thought it was a really tough fight after a 2-year layoff against Eric Starr for Kenny Lunkins. He came in with a big record, 18-0, and the competition he fought was really suspect. I think you figure a guy with a 19-0 record is pretty established, but I think the jury is still out a little bit on him. I have a hunch that this test tonight against Forrest Neal, a long, lanky jabber, is going to be the defining moment in Lunkins' career. The only time we've seen Forrest Neal was when he fought Darnell the Dingling Man Wilson, who blasted him out in 2 rounds. That's an unfair test for a lot of guys because of Wilson's power. I think we're going to see Neal give a better account of himself, and we're going to find out what Lunkins is made of and see if that undefeated record is real tonight.
All right, thank you, John. Let's get this one officially introduced with Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. It's time now for more ballroom boxing. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman David J. Norman, Executive Director Patrick Piniella, and ballroom boxing promoters Scott and Michael J. Wagner, along with matchmaker Chris Middendorf and Director of Boxing Operations Dave Wilkerson, present this 6-round bout in the cruiserweight division. Your referee in charge is John Gradowski. Judging the bout at ringside, Kenny Chevalier, Bill Holmes, and Malik Waleed. Your scorekeeper, Pat Piniella. The timekeeper, Don Risher. Introducing the boxers. First, to my left, out of the red corner, wearing the red and black trunks. He weighed in at 187.5 pounds. He comes to us from Detroit, Michigan. His record, 15-4, 11 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the ballroom, Forrest Cisco Neal. To my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the red trunks with black trim. He weighed in at 180 pounds. He is from Coral Springs, Florida. His record, 19-0-1. 14 via the KO. Please welcome to the ballroom, Kenny, bring it on, Lunkins.
Lunkins has a fine record, 19-0, but he's only fought 3 times in 4 years, and once over the last 2 years. That last time was in the ballroom. John Gradowski, the referee, and John Saraceno with a look at this one in the matchup. John?
Well, Neal's got a reach advantage and a weight advantage, but you're right, Kenny Lunkins' inactivity is what's held him back. He needs to get on a regular course of fighting. Tonight goes against Forrest Neal.
Well, I remember him saying to John Scheidman after his last win over Eric Starr that he needed to be more active and he liked fighting here, and sure enough, he is back. Doesn't look like he's very warmed up, though. Doesn't want to touch gloves with Forrest Neal either.
Not very gentlemanly.
No.
Then again, they're not here to be gentlemen.
As Scheidman mentioned to us, it was Darnell Wilson, the Dingling Man, a crowd favorite here in the ballroom, blowing Forrest Neal out in Neal's last matchup, a 3-round TKO. Prior to that, though, a 2-round TKO win for Neal with a fine record of 15-4, 11 wins by knockout.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Neal keeps backing straight up the way he's doing, he could be in for a very short evening.
This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds.
You see, it seems like more nowadays fighters making fundamental errors in the ring, mostly defensively. I don't know if they're not getting the training they used to get, or they're not listening, or both.
Well, you see Forrest Neal trying to lean on the head of Lunkins. Just checking out Forrest Neal early. The right hand way low. Good left hand, though, by Neal. As long as he stays offensive, that right hand might not get him into trouble.
Well, Neal looks to hit and retreat. You can see that back foot always in the back pedaling motion as soon as he throws. He dropped his mouthpiece out.
Out of the mouth of Neal. A little overexcited that time.
Yes, he did.
Forrest Neal from Detroit. First fight here in the ballroom. Tommy Gallagher, the trainer, in the corner of Lunkins. John, what does that inactivity do to a guy other than the so-called ring rust? How does it affect him in a negative way coming into a fight like this, say with a guy with a long reach?
Well, I think your timing is never the same when you're not in the ring actively, whether you're sparring regularly or getting ready for fights. And, you know, tonight he's fighting a southpaw. So it's, you know, it makes it even more difficult. And the less you fight, the less sharp you're going to be. I mean, your skills deteriorate. I don't care what sport it is. I think it's particularly so for boxing, where reflexes, timing, as in a lot of sports, is key.
Neal trying to use that reach advantage and trying to stay away from Lunkins. Lunkins 14 knockouts out of 19 wins. So he's got some pop.
Well, you see Lunkins try to shoot that lead right hand, textbook punch against an orthodox fighter. But he's got to remember to jab, too.
Round one winding down here in the ballroom.
America's national pastime is now available on Dish Network.
I know you'll be glad you did.
Preferred RX will ship your diabetic supplies directly to your home with no upfront costs. Call today.
177.88.
Taking a look at the CompuBox stats. Round one. Lunkins really did not land many punches. Neal getting the better of the exchanges in round one, at least statistically.
Well, that's what I thought. I gave Neal the round. It was fairly close, but Lunkins still trying to feel his way out against the southpaw. A southpaw with a long jab and a rangy fighter, tall, rangy fighter. Not an easy assignment for Lunkins, particularly if you've had those layoffs, as you alluded to.
I was going to say, it just hit me that this is a very tough opponent for a guy that hasn't fought much. A long, lanky left-hander who likes to use that reach advantage. This is not an easy target for Lunkins.
Honestly, I don't even know why you would make this fight if you're Lunkins management.
Lunkins with the black shoes, the white shoes on Forrest Neal. Fight is scheduled for 6 rounds. Our main event tonight, former world heavyweight champion Hasim Rahman continues on the comeback trail against a very ready Rob Calloway.
And Lunkins got to remember to move that head against the jab. It's getting picked off a little bit here by Neal.
Forrest Neal just using that jab. This fight getting to slow down a little bit here as Neal's jab has slowed. Now Lunkins moving forward.
Yeah, you see Lunkins just trying to tap him, Larry, so he can get closer. Just hit him. And he can move in to throw that right hand, preferably a lead right hand. But he's first got to get out of the way of the jab and then come back.
It's a little abrasion on the bridge of the nose of Kenny Lunkins.
And you see Lunkins circling to his left to stay away from the left hand of Neal.
Lunkins eats 2 left hands from Neal. One thing here is good left hand by Neal again. I'm not so sure Neal can keep this pace up even for this 6th rounder.
Well, right now, Neal content to safely box Lunkins at a distance, and Lunkins has been unable to launch an effective, aggressive attack on the inside. He's trying to box Neal, a taller Ranger fighter, from the outside. It's really not working. Now, if he can find a way to break him down to the body, maybe. But you see how far on the outside Lunkins is. I think he's got to narrow that gap, Larry. He's got his punches way in and that's the only way he's going to do it. It almost looks like he's just waiting to throw that lead right hand. He's trying to time it to land that one shot.
It's like Lunkins is closing the distance. As round 2 comes to a close here. This fight scheduled for 6. Neal with the assault. As the 2nd round wears out, more ballroom boxing coming up from Michael's 8th Avenue.
What's the best part of your home business?
Well, the money, the financial security.
Started. All you need is a computer and the desire to succeed.
My goal for next year is $50,000 a month.
I never dreamed I'd be making $20,000 a month, but I am.
This wasn't one of those get-rich-quick schemes, but guess what? I did.
Go to this website and get started today. The best of your life is just a click away. So go to your computer and log on to this website now.
Looking back at action from round 2, Forrest Neal using that reach advantage.
He's been landing with those long left hands and the jab. And a good finish to that round. I gave Neal the first 2 rounds, Larry.
See what John Scheinman has to say. CompuBox stats showing more of the same. Neal outlanding Lunkins in the first 2 rounds, John Scheinman.
Rare and shocking Scheinman-Saraceno agreement on this one. 2018 Forrest Neal. I don't know what Kenny Lunkins is going to do here to get into this fight, because he's got a big range-finding jab out in front of him and a snapping sharp left hand from Forrest Neal that comes from way outside, and Neal has to find a way to get inside to land shots. He might want to dip and feint and then try to throw to the body and not even worry about the head, but I'm telling you something, he's got a handful in front of him after 2.
No doubt about it. Kenny Lunkins has that unbeaten record on the line, going right to the body of Forrest Neal. Good strategy.
That's what he's got to do. He's allowing Neal to dictate the flow and rhythm of the fight by standing on the outside of a taller, rangier fighter. He's trying to outbox him when he's got to move inside and let his hands loose. Now, he may have to get hit occasionally on the way in. But like they say, if you go swimming, you got to get wet. So he's got to do more of that.
And just a 6th-round fight, he can't afford to give away any more rounds.
I mean, it looks like to me he's loading up for the lead right hand. I think that's what he's trying to shoot.
Question is here, can the taller and leaner Forrest Neal continue to jab throughout a 6th-rounder? Because right now he's looking pretty good.
And Neal clips him as he charges on the inside, and he's been doing that. But Lunkins is going to have to take some chances, Larry. He cannot box this man from the outside and win a decision, I don't think.
Nice combination by Neal.
He got backhanded there. Lunkins used the backhand and was not warned. Lunkins is very awkward, as a lot of southpaws are, kind of a fighter. Not an easy guy to fight. Excuse me, Forrest Neal. Thank you to the men in the truck.
Nice pot shot that time by Forrest Neal. And again, the reach advantage of the southpaw stance causing Lunkins a lot of problems here.
Yes, once again, Forrest Neal, the taller of the 2 fighters, as your analysts hopefully will remember.
There's a good shot by Lunkins, the only real clean power shot of this round. There's the warning for the backhand from John Gradowski. Lunkins doing a better job of getting inside the reach of Forrest Neal, but really not doing much once he gets there.
Well, he's unable to let his hands loose because he's getting caught on the inside, but he's not fighting a very effective fight.
The reach of Neal, the key so far here in the ballroom.
He's ready for you. Go on first and go.
Good example of what has made the difference so far in this one for Neal is that reach advantage.
Okay, round number 4, Kenny, okay?
And you could see it graphically there on our replay. Just Neal's right jab, and then he follows through with those short left hands when he moves inside. Lunkins being outlanded by Neal through 3 rounds, 57 to 23 punches landed, according to CompuBox.
More than twice the connect rate.
And that's basically how we have it scored unofficially at ringside.
Midway through, John Scheinman, who's leading on your scorecard?
Well, Neal, I gave him the last round as well. He's up 30-27. One of the main mistakes that Lunkins is making here is that on going inside, he is just lunging when he tries to land the power shot. His jab is too short, so he can't get in. What he has to do is feint his way in. He will feint, Neal will try to counter, and then he'll be able to land a shot at an exposed body. But if he just lunges in, Neal is going to set him up and time him all night long.
And that's a good point, and he just did it right there. But he's got to do more of that. Really, Lunkins looks befuddled. Again, I don't know if he knew he was going to fight a guy that was a southpaw, this tall, this rangy. And if he didn't prepare for the right kind of fighter in the gym, I got to believe Tommy Gallagher's been around the game a long time. They had to know who they were fighting. They should have known. but it's hard to find a guy to duplicate Neal.
It's a tough draw. Very tough draw.
I don't even see him throwing main lead right hands.
Nice quick left hand by Forrest Neal. Again, the reach advantage. And you're right. Lunkins is befuddled.
It's just a bad styles matchup for Lunkins. It really is.
Really been controlled by that reach.
Grogowski warned Neal for grabbing behind the head, but it was kind of a subtle move there by Neal to grab Lunkins' head as Lunkins lunged forward and control him. And that's what size will do for you if you can use it effectively. Muhammad Ali did that for years, using his arms and his reach to hold guys' heads down. And that'll wear on a fighter. That will make you tired. It'll make your neck stiff and sore, make your arms weary.
Lunkins trying to bop and weave his way in.
Well, he did something there you're not allowed to do, which is to bounce off the ropes, too.
Neal very shifty. No doubt about that.
Well,
that's it, Kenny. That's it, Kenny. That's it.
Lunkins is totally discouraged right now, Larry. And that's why you see him fighting so ineffectively. He just doesn't know what to do. He can't land anything significant. And so he's waiting on the outside for something to happen. Well, guess what? The only thing that's happening is getting picked apart.
That hole is getting very deep for Kenny Lunkins. 2 rounds to go in the ballroom.
Imagine if you could reduce the interest rate on your credit cards by half or more.
Interest on... With you, Cambridge Credit Counseling a call. Find out how good it feels to be debt-free.
All right, welcome back to the ballroom action from round 4. More of the same from Forrest Neal. That time a lead right by Lunkins scored.
But he's not had enough of that. Difficult assignment to get past that range-finding jab of Neal.
John Scheim with 2 rounds to go. How far ahead do you have Neal?
Larry, that was a critical round for Lunkins, losing it down 40-36, because now on my unofficial card, he needs to score a knockout to win. There's no way he can pull out a decision. And the thing that he hasn't done, which is kind of surprising considering Tommy Gallagher in his corner, is adjust and make changes. If you only have one battle plan and it's not working, you've got to be able to make an adjustment and do something different. So far, we've seen the same fight from him for 4 rounds, and none of it's worked.
Well, I watched Tommy Gallagher descend the steps from that last break between rounds, and he was not a happy camper. He looks disgusted.
Well, Lunkins really has done nothing to adjust. You're right, John. They're fighting the same fight against the man who's controlled the tempo from the first round, and it hasn't changed.
I tell you what, Neal knows all the little tricks, and he's been using them. He really has. And he just has Lunkins totally bottled up. A little bit of blood coming from Lunkins' mouth.
Yes, indeed. Lunkins, we remind you, with the unbeaten record, 19-0, risking it on the line here tonight in the ballroom. Right now, it doesn't look good for that unbeaten record, does it?
Well, I'm going to go back to what we talked about earlier, and that is this was a bad match for a guy who's been as inactive as Lunkins. This is the wrong style. It'd probably be the wrong style every time to fight this guy, but certainly when you have a lot of inactivity, this is not the kind of guy you want to fight.
Lunkins still looking for some kind of offensive window of opportunity. Just doesn't have the skill or the strategy to be able to get inside that reach.
They might have thought they had a soft touch here tonight, and that Neal's chin was suspect. But the problem is Lunkins hasn't gotten close enough to really test it.
You're right.
Or test it effectively, you know, in succession. He's going to need a Sunday punch here, Larry, to pull this one out, unless we're just watching this all wrong.
Now, we're watching it right. There's no doubt about it. Lunkins really not done a lot offensively. You see the blood just pouring out of his mouth onto his chest now.
Neal just beating Lunkins to the punch, toying with him, using effective lateral movement. He's not running. He's using a small square, I should say a small circle in the center of the square ring, and it's working for him.
Crafty performance by Forrest. Welcome back to the ballroom. John, did you catch, was there some dissension in the corner of Lunkins?
Well, I heard Tommy Gallagher say, keep your mouth shut then, but I'm not sure why he meant that. Could have been a physical thing. But he sounded irritated when he said it.
CompuBox stats again in favor of Forrest Neal. Quickly, John Scheinman, your scorecard going into the final round.
Well, I think he said keep his mouth shut because he didn't want a glove to enter it, but otherwise 50-45, absolute shutout, minor masterpiece from Forrest Neal here.
Lunkins still has the power, though, to be able to take him out here in the final round.
I have it scored the same way. I think it's clear, even if he gave Lunkins a round or two, and he's going to need a knockout to win. He needs a prayer here. He needs to have a prayer answered. Well, I'll tell you what, a very impressive win for Forrest Neal. Even though he was not pressured effectively by Lunkins, you got to give it to Neal. He fought the textbook fight against this guy tonight.
And we questioned early on if he could keep it up through the 6 rounds, and he has.
Yeah, he is not, well, again, when you're not being hit very much and you're not being pressured, he's basically fresh as a proverbial daisy out there.
Right.
It looked like he could go 12 rounds. I mean, he's made it look really easy, and it's not that easy.
Oh, I believe a low shot that time from Lunkins, putting Forrest Neal down. And Forrest Neal down, complaining about the low blow, and John Gradowski is going to give him 5 minutes to recover. And I don't know if Neal should be doing this unless he really is hurt.
Well, I think he was hurt there.
I don't know. That wasn't much of a punch that time to cause that kind of damage.
Well, I don't think he was faking it. I don't think he has any need to at this point. It was a low blow. He hit him below the belt.
So here we go, back to live action.
I tell you what, Neal looks really unhappy about it, too.
Oh, Lunkins is hurt. Lunkins is hurt.
Yeah, and Neal is not happy about that low blow, and Lunkins is about to pay for it.
There goes the mouthpiece of Lunkins.
Now we know it was a real low blow.
Oh, now John Gradowski calls time, and this is a bailout for Lunkins for sure because he was in bad shape.
You ought to lose 2 points when you do that in a situation like that. They ought to just automatically deduct 2 points.
Lunkins coming back. Still a minute to go in the final round.
I think Neal would like to get a knockout here or a stoppage.
Well, he had Lunkins in trouble. That's a good right hand that time by Forrest Neal.
Boy, he snapped his head right back, right in front of us as the blood goes flying.
Lunkins in real trouble. Still 40 seconds to go.
Well, Neal should go to the body here because Lunkins is tying him up. He's covering up around the head. He should dig downstairs.
Well, Neal wants the knockout, no doubt about it. He's got the victory, all but assured. And now he's beating up Kenny Lunkins in the final round.
Wow, what a bad performance for Ray Lunkins to watch his unbeaten record go down the drain. Tommy Gallagher despondent in Lunkins' corner.
I mean, Lunkins has done a good job staying upright. Whoa, John Gradowski.
And he got his stoppage.
Halts the fight with seconds remaining. And he gets the TKO win. How about that?
Well, you know what? I think he basically deserved it because when he spit the bit, the mouthpiece, he was ready to possibly go right there. And Lunkins, just the kind of fight you don't want against the kind of fighter you don't want. It was a bad match from the beginning, and Lunkins paid for that mismatch tonight, and it was a mismatch. We had it scored a shutout.
We'll be back after a short. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Forrest Neal gets the TKO win in the 6th round. Let's take a look at how it ended. Lunkins was defenseless, just covering up.
And I tell you what, Neal hadn't even hit him with a real hard shot there, but he was getting ready to.
John Gradowski steps in,
and it's a good move, Larry. You know why? The fight was over anyway. He could have gotten seriously hurt. All it takes is one punch there at the end where your fighter is really defenseless.
This is how the end was set up. And again, Kenny Lunkins was not responding, not punching back, just almost going into a fetal position.
Yeah, that's fatigue. And you got a long rangey puncher. There goes the mouthpiece again from Lunkins. It was a good time for John Gradowski to call a halt to the action. Lunkins had enough.
So Forrest Neal is the winner tonight in the ballroom. Pat O'Malley standing by to give us the official time. Send it up to Pat.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by TKO at 250 of round 6, Forrest Cisco Neal.
So Forrest Neal deals Kenny Lunkins his first loss as a professional. Dominating the fight from the opening round with the reach advantage and the quick hands. Lunkins never got anything going, and he is stopped in the 6th and final round. More ballroom boxing coming up in a moment from Michael's 8th Avenue.